from Atlantic City. Ha! It looks like Atlantic City to me.
With the pier there.
The pier, yeah.
Maybe
Palm Beach.
Too sunny.
Palm Beach. Yeah, that was obviously that's a little earlier in the day. A nice day.
Very nice day.
Here, apparently it's very, very cold, just a little north of here. I think we're gonna probably get a little of it. It was Tuesday, so you see by Thursday or Friday it gets very, very nice, so the president can play golf on the weekend.
Right.
Because God's not going to fool. God's going to make sure it's nice for him.
Mm-hmm.
If he's coming this way, one always wonders, is he traveling? The next weekend is Thanksgiving, so he'll surely be here. Mm-hmm. So this someday we're going to stop running out of things that Democrats do that I sit there and scratch which is why I have no hair. I sit there and scratch my head and say, how can anybody do this? I mean, how can you put out an ad telling people telling the military, I guess, not to follow orders if they're illegal, when you've spent the last 6 years making the word legal, illegal meaningless? Democrats have, by interpreting the law, distorting it, making up things that were unlawful, framing people with false evidence. The word law is something that is a subjective thing now that you apply the way communists used to and the way Orwell describes in 1984. It's what you define as the law. So now you tell people in the military not to follow lawful orders. Well, of course they shouldn't follow lawful orders. But who decides what's lawful? Each individual soldier? Be a hell of a way to fight a war, huh? I don't know if I want to be sitting next to a guy who all of a sudden was told something was to do something. He decided, oh, no, it's unlawful to go up the hill. Let's listen to it. I mean, they're not just stupid. No way to describe this. There's no way to describe this. And some of the things they do are positively really dangerous. Treasonous, dangerous. This is really dangerous. Listen to it.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris DeLuzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
and the intelligence community
who take risks each day
to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Like us. You all swore an oath
to protect and defend this Constitution.
And right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law
or our Constitution.
We know this is hard
and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
the Army,
or Navy,
the Air Force,
your vigilance is critical.
And know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
the American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws,
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
What's an illegal order? What a bunch of... I respect you for your military service, and I completely disrespect you for the tremendous damage you are now doing to your country. I do not know what's wrong with you. I don't know what happened to your sense of duty. I don't know what happened to your brain.
Right.
You just put on something like that and you don't help to define what's legal and illegal. What, everyone's supposed to carry around a law books with them? The military can't operate that way. The military can't operate so that every single of the 900,000 soldiers that were at the Battle of the Bulge defending us, we looked at that last night,
Right.
can decide, well, us 20 are going to walk away because, Captain, we think your order is illegal. You didn't take enough care when we were in the village in the shootout and they were shooting. You didn't take enough care for the civilians. So we're not going to participate in the battle any longer. I mean, and I don't know about them, but they're certainly part of a political party that's, to a very large extent, working for the other side. I mean, they're spending all their time trying to do what they can to help China, help the Ayatollah. Two of their presidents gave more money to the Ayatollah than any world leaders. So what are they doing? They have to be intelligent enough to know that you just can't say the word illegal and leave it undefined. Particularly in what we've gone through the last 10 years. There was a time when there was more agreement and obvious ramifications of what was legal and illegal. That time is not now. We've lived in a very, very dark period of really fascist type enforcement of the law. I say it having been personally subjected to it. Don't participate if you believe it's illegal or know it's illegal. Suppose you believe it's illegal, but since you're not a lawyer, you don't know it's illegal. Suppose it's something that one court has said was legal and the other hasn't. I'll give you an example. The president is told in some places that the National Guard couldn't go into a particular place, but in another place, the court will rule that the state government has no control over the president's decision to do that if he's doing that to protect federal offices. So you have two different decisions. You're part of the military. Do you have to know which decision was reached by a judge in, let's say, a judge in Southern California and a judge in Texas? National Guard is called out. You're called out to act. You're giving an order to end up going to a certain street and to keep watch over the federal agents there so they're not killed, shot, beaten, tortured, harassed, whatever. And I don't assume that all the military are given all of the day sheets on the decisions all over the United States, right?
Right.
So the normal, well-educated officer even will have read the newspapers and they'll say, "Oh my goodness!" In the Southern District of Texas, they just ruled that it was perfectly legal for the president to use, or maybe let's say in California. In the Middle District of California, they ruled that it was legal for the president to bring in the National Guard, and he should go ahead with it. In the Southern District of California, one judge just put a temporary injunction on it. But Captain says we have to go in.
Well,
What did you tell the captain? According to Judge Magukugu, there's an injunction. We're not going to go in. And then all of a sudden that goes up to the appellate division. The appellate division reverses it and says that the courts are overstepping their bounds. We can go in now. They get halfway there and they go up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court justice puts in a stay. Oh, stop. And then they sit there until the Supreme Court overrules it and says what it basically has said, but the judges are, stay the hell out of it. The Supreme Court has basically said to the lower courts, where you have these areas of federal executive prerogative. It's for the president to decide, at least on the spur of the moment, and then later we can decide whether it's legal or illegal. And at this point, a decision like that is presumed to be legal, according to most courts, not all courts. So now you want men and women on the battlefield to enter into decisions about what is lawful and what isn't lawful that the Supreme Court divides on. The Supreme Court isn't sure of. It hasn't had an answer to it yet. But there are immediate things to be dealt with, like ICE agents getting attacked 1,000% more than before. And the law makes it clear you can use the military to protect federal agents. But some Democrats decide that the Constitution doesn't mean anything. And for these phony Democrats to be talking about the law after what they did to me and my friends, I mean, they should stick them all in the garbage can. I respect their military service. But just because you have military service doesn't mean you can recommend to people that they break the law or create chaos in the military. It doesn't make you God. But a lot of people in military service that have done wonderful things after their military service. And there are people in military service who have done horrible things after their military service. So if you want to interpret the law for me, what I'm more interested in is what's your legal background, not did you fly a plane. So God bless you. But what you just did is disgraceful. And you might have done great service for the country in the military, and now you're doing a horrible disservice to the country. And I don't give a shit who you are. I'm going to call you out. Epstein, I guess, is over with for now. We discussed it enough. The bill is signed. The only thing I do not understand, and I want to save it for a little later, as Ted does a little more research on this. At the end of the last show, when we were talking to Allison, she talked about these competing group of attempts to censure congressmen. First, they tried to censure the Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. See if you know what I mean by that, Ted. This is a test. Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy.
I'm guessing they were two.
They
were a combination on TV at some point before.
Charlie,
one of them is a puppet.
well, Charlie McCarthy is Michael Cohen. No, Edgar Bergen is Michael.
Which one's
Cohen.
the puppet?
The Congresswoman.
Yeah, well, no, I know. And Edgar.
Yeah, Edgar Bergen used to have Jerry McCarthy on his lap
Okay.
like this. He was sitting like a puppet.
Okay. Edgar Bergen
he
and
used to hold-
Charlie McCarthy. Yeah.
And Charlie McCarthy was the puppet.
Yeah.
And Charlie was about this big.
Yeah.
And he had a little suit on.
Yeah.
And then he'd have a little thing behind here that he'd pull. Right?
Ventriloquist.
So his mouth wasn't like that. And then Charlie McCarthy would talk to him. He'd say, Jerry, how are you today?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like some food? Yes. Do you like the audience out here? No. They look fat. Something like that. You know, he'd say something funny and the ventriloquism was much more prominent when I was a child than it is now. There were a large number of them, and there was Mr. Wences. Mr. Wences used to use his hand. He'd take his hand and he'd draw in red. He'd draw like a little face. And Mr. Wences was Hispanic. I think he was Mexican. I think. But then he would have a little talk with Mr. Wences, and Mr. Wences said, "I have to figure out where to put him in the camera. Maybe I would do it that way. Yeah, it's better. I do it that way with that name." And he would talk. I mean, I'll try to work on it and figure it out and do it for you. But Mr. Wences he would talk to him. He'd say, Mr. Wences, do you like being on the Ed Sullivan Show? And Mr. Wentz would say, "No, I don't like Ed Sullivan. He's too he seems so stiff."
That's funny. I get
Ed
it.
Sullivan's very stiff. Mr. Wences, you shouldn't say that. I won't take you to dinner. You won't take me to dinner.
We got to get you one. Maybe that'll be your.
So he'd
Christmas.
he'd have him like that, but he'd like put a little paint eyes on him, and this would be his mouth, and then he'd have a little mustache below the lip.
No, it was more. Yeah,
We'll see if you can find a picture
I'm
of Mr.
looking for
Wentz.
one right now.
Either Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy
Well,
or Mr. Wentz's. Those were the two I think most famous.
They're selling Charlie McCarthy little dolls on eBay in 1968.
How much they cost?
120.
That's about what they cost new. That wasn't too bad.
That's not bad. $120.
They have any new ones
Here's Edgar
or just
Bergen.
old ones?
Well, Charlie, are you having a good time? Well, whatever you say, it's up to you. You got your hand up my back. All right. Well, I would say that you're having a pretty good time. That's very good, Bergen. Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm certainly welcome, I guess. Yeah. What do you think of the Smothers Brothers? Do you think they're funny? Well, I think one of them is pretty funny. Yeah, one of them. Which one is that? The funny one. The funny. Yeah. You mean Tommy? I imagine so. Yeah.
Just to give you an idea.
So this is let's identify them now. So Edgar Bergen would be Michael Cohen feeding the congresswoman who couldn't figure out how to ask questions on her own. The questions to ask
Epstein.
of Epstein.
Yeah. Well, Epstein was the one feeding the
Epstein
questions
rather
to the congresswoman.
to the of Michael Cohen.
Of Cohen, because
Right.
Epstein would
Right.
know about Cohen
Right. So
and
I
the
hate
staff.
to make it. I hate to make him.
Two undesirable
Yeah.
characters, but in different
Yeah,
ways,
yeah.
probably different magnitudes.
Right.
Yeah.
So he was feeding her questions, right?
Right.
And she concealed all this.
Right.
She concealed
this is
all
a
this.
Democrat
And here we
member
are.
of
Here we
Congress.
are going through a national emergency over releasing all the truth about Epstein, and she's been lying about this
Yeah.
from the very, very beginning. Well, you're going to find a lot of Democrats have been lying about their relationship with Epstein. They acted like he was a great guy after he was, after he had sexual predator put on his forehead.
Yeah.
He was an identified sexual predator, and they were taking a fortune from him.
Right.
Now, I really do wonder, I got to believe you're going to see a lot more Democrat names than Republican names. I don't know yet of a Republican who knew him, unless everybody's lying to me. But in any event, and Trump's involvement with him ended about the time or right before that that first case.
Yeah.
And then after that first case, I mean, there's always the suspicion you're involved in it because of what he can do for you.
Right.
And one of the things was money, but another thing was women. And then again, you got to be careful there too. I mean, not that it's even lawful or nice, but was he supplying women that were of age or underage? I think he was doing both. It depended on who. And it didn't matter to him, but it sure as hell matters a lot in terms of how the person is prosecuted at all, in any event. In any event, we're going to find out eventually. And what really is much more important is if we can get Putin to stop killing Ukrainians and we can get Hamas to give up its weapons. That would be a little more significant than what or if is on Epstein's list. And the reason I say that is not because I wouldn't have loved it, thought it was perfect justice if we could have gotten that list out a long time ago and prosecuted these people.
What?
But I mean, Biden and the Democrats sat on it for years.
Yep.
For 4 years, the 4
Right.
years in which the statute ran. Had no interest in it.
Was it a 4-year statute limitation?
I don't actually know. I think it's 6. But
That would be
you know,
interesting if it lined up.
No. I don't think you're going to have any that are within the statute, unless you have a state with an unusually long statute of limitations on child molestation. Maybe, but we don't know exactly when he stopped. We don't know a lot about it, right? So there might be some to the left. There might be some.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could be close. It could be very close.
Of course.
So, what do you think of what do you think of the complete stonewalling that went on by the FBI of the Butler assassination attempt? It was shocking to see all those things that came out. And the director of the FBI had testified there was nothing of significance in terms of online activity with regard to Thomas Crooks. I mean, Thomas Crooks was a prolific user of the internet.
Right.
And the picture painted by the former FBI director and his number two was there was nothing going on.
Right.
Now, of more concern, there was a point at which Kash Patel said Crook's digital footprint was unremarkable. Now, I don't know what exactly if he's changed that, position, or Carolyn Levitt yesterday said, with regard to the press's outrage, that the guy has not only a very, very large internet footprint, a particularly pointed one that would warn anybody with a modicum of intelligence that this guy's a potential assassin. And it really now raises a much more significant question, which is, did the FBI know? Did the Secret Service know? If they didn't, how many of these are out there that they don't know about? And with the ability that we have now to use keywords to pull things out and make it easier. I mean, I used to feel so sorry years ago when somebody would get killed, and of course I feel sorry about that. But I'd also feel sorry when they go back and then they find something 10 years ago that was in a file that somebody should have looked at it. But how are they going to look at it? Now, you can electronically search millions of files. You put in the word assassination.
Yeah.
Just put in the word assassination. The guy used it. He used the word assassination.
Right.
Pull up the files of every kid that uses the word assassination. Pull up the files of kids that have drawings of murders. He had a number of them. The social networks.
You have them on there, right?
The social networks pull up stuff that they say is
I'll pull them up on here.
like, for example, if you were to say the vaccine is for shit a couple of years ago, they wouldn't only pull it up, they'd throw you off.
Yeah.
In other words, they're spending all their time trying to figure out people who are criticizing the vaccine and letting potential murderers go free. That's pretty sad. And this guy was doing it during that period of time.
Yeah.
This guy was all over the internet, making it clear that he is a potential murderer. And at the time, they probably picked up hundreds of thousands of people for criticizing the pandemic situation and the false and deadly information being put out by Fauci and people like him.
Right.
That's the other reason why definition of what's lawful and not is extraordinarily ambiguous.
Yep.
The law required at that time, for the longest time, that you had to take a vaccine that turns out that it can be exceedingly dangerous for you, or you'd be fired. I mean, they're getting pretty close to putting you in jail if you didn't take it.
Yeah.
And Biden was accusing you of being a murderer if you didn't take it.
Yep.
It turns out you were probably less of a murderer if you didn't than if you did.
Right.
It also turns out that if you had natural immunity like I did, you had absolutely no reason to put yourself under that risk.
Yep.
That the natural immunity had a much better record over the long term of preventing a relapse.
Yep.
So there has to be an investigation of this guy who had a furry fetish, a mommy muscle fetish, had reached for any number of strange, both from the point of view of perverted mentality, behavior, and violent behavior and deviant art. He was on 8 different, at least 8, YouTube, Snapchat, PayPal, Discord, chess.com, Quora, and DeviantArt. Large numbers of them had clear signals that this was an assassin in waiting, including his saying it.
Mhm.
And then you can see a pro-Trump position where he wanted to kill the Democrats and Jewish people. I always believed being patriotic was lining up a bunch of socialist Jews and blasting, like the ones that booed Trump, and blasting their useless brains out with an AR. Then he determined that Trump was racist, and Trump is one of them. These things, we're not entitled to an answer as to, one, was it picked up? Because, again, nobody believes them anymore. And then they don't turn over the records to Senator Johnson so when they're not turning over records, you wonder, why aren't they turning over records?
Mhm.
I mean, Miranda Devine's detective went and got these records.
Right.
I mentioned on the earlier show that Nicki Minaj gave a speech at the UN to talk about the tremendous danger of Christians being murdered in Nigeria because of jihad, meaning in the name of Muhammad. I think this is a very important time to focus on that. It first of all starts to give you a kind of a fuller context of what's going on with anti-Semitism, that this is all of one certain amount of anti-Semitism is just individual, God forbid, to Jewish people, right? Hatred of Jewish people. But this Muslim hatred of Jewish people and desire to eliminate them and kill them is, I don't know, maybe stronger. It may be stronger emotion. I don't know, but the requirement to do it that comes out of very strict adherence to the word of Muhammad and the Muslim religion comes out of the religion, and they are doing a pretty effective job of wiping out Christians. Nigeria is one of those places, and the press and the communists and the sick people who control our media come up with this. Oh, this is a fight between herdsmen, like in the South, not South, in the West. We used to have. There must be about 7 or 8 of these wars going on in Africa right now, some bigger than others, but they have the exact same cause in all cases. The Muslims are trying to wipe out the Christian. They don't believe Christians should be allowed in Africa. They want to wipe them out. And the Christian religion is the fastest growing religion in sub-Saharan Africa. It's gone from having not much presence in the 50s to I think maybe having bigger numbers than the Muslims.
Right.
And it's frightening to them, and they want to wipe them out and kill them. That's going on in Sudan. They separated Sudan to prevent it, and it still goes on. And it's going on because no one faces it, and no one wants to face it accurately. It's part of the worldwide Muslim drive to kill Christians and Jews. Not all Muslims, by any means, not most Muslims, but a very significant number represented now in almost every country in the world, very well financed, and not adequately condemned by that very, very large number of Muslims that we would call good people. In fact, they see it as a sign of prejudice against them if you talk about that.
Right.
Islamophobia certainly doesn't have to do with our sincere understanding of the fact that a significant and a large portion, I didn't say majority, I said large portion of people who practice the Muslim religion take passages in the Quran and Hadith attributed to Moses to kill infidels seriously and to go to war with them. And that you're supposed to follow the example of Muhammad's life. Muhammad led armies, went into villages, and slaughtered Christians and Jews. So you take both his words, his actions, and unless somebody corrects this, a simpleton just follows him.
Right.
Shall we take a short break?
Yeah, good time halfway through the show.
Good.
So we'll be right back after these messages.
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Welcome back to the America's Mayor Live.
That's
with
right.
Rudy Giuliani
That's right.
from the beach in Palm Beach. Okay, what's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Right. She's gone. She's now opposing Trump.
Is she opposing him on things? I mean, it almost seems like she wants to.
How do you see
she's
it?
made
What
the-
do you think, Mayor?
She's
What-
made the biggest issue, right? The biggest issue she made is Epstein, right?
Right.
Epstein's not an America First issue.
Yep.
But she's claiming that he isn't being true to America first. So what is it? And then she did this thing. I found this really, I like her. I found this really, that she forgives him like she's God or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Maybe he should forgive her. I forgive him and I will pray for him to return to his original MAGA promises. Did she consider releasing the Epstein names a MAGA? I don't know. Is that a MAGA promise? And isn't she sophisticated enough to realize that there are a whole bunch of issues in that, including false condemnation. I mean, she's been through false condemnation. She has to realize that maybe at first, a lot of people didn't. You wouldn't know that if you don't know the file. So you'd say very simply, put it all out, because you think it's going to contain either definitive evidence or fairly solid evidence that this man was a pedophile or this man was a pedophile. Now, I haven't seen the file, nor have I had it described to me, but I'm watching all the different interreactions that have taken place, the original statements about it when they all thought it was very simple, and now the more complex statements by the people who are in power. And I say to myself, this is definitely not a cover-up of Trump. Now, I happen to be in a much better position to know that than anyone because I represented him and I went and investigated this. But even if I wasn't, just sitting out here and watching it, I could tell you it's not Trump because the Bidens would have put it out. They put it out. They had less credible. They would not have been worried about the innuendo or these are guys who paid money to make up crimes about him. They paid money to scoundrels in Ukraine to make up money about him, make up crimes about him. They lied completely. They lied about me, the 51 spies who lied, said I was a Russian agent when, I don't know, unless Mac Isaacs is Russian. I got it from an American, as far as I could tell. I mean, and when I read it, whether I got it from a Russian or I got it from a German or I got it from Mac Isaacs, it incriminated the hell out of the entire family. Even now, you don't know how incriminating it is because even the Republicans kept some of it from you. And certainly didn't emphasize it enough. And I that baffles my mind also. Mm-hmm. But in any event, why is she so angry with him? I mean, he up until a few weeks ago, he loved her. She was his favorite congressperson, and then all of a sudden she turns on him. And what I'm trying to get at is it just over this Epstein thing?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what she claims it's about.
I mean, she was on.
She plays some.
Well, I mean, when they had the big dispute over Speaker, wasn't she for McCarthy?
Yeah.
She stayed.
Do you want to play? Should we play some of what she's been saying, or?
Yeah. I'm trying to get at. The other strange thing is the other one that sort of gave him a bit of a hard time, but not as much, was Lauren Bobbitt, and they fight with each other.
Right. I'm playing this clip right here. I found this is Marjorie Taylor Greene on CNN recently, and let's just listen.
Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is That is so extremely wrong, and those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened?
Well, that's not going to be a fair interview. It also indicates this is very conniving. Why is she going on with the person she's on with in the most amateurish and incompetent way? Tried to trip up unfairly Trump any number of times. I mean, she's one of the leaders of the destroy Trump at any. If in fact you feel aggrieved by Trump and you want to make your point to the MAGA people, what are you going on with her for? That person is of course going to accept everything you say and then use it and make it even worse against Trump. I mean, she's been a hatchet woman against Trump from the very beginning. I remember during the impeachment, she was a hatchet woman. I would talk to her and it would always come out some other way. And I eventually stopped talking to her. I mean, she is probably one of the top leading members of the fake news, pro-Democrat, hate Trump movement. So she decides to explain her position in a sympathetic way about Trump with somebody who hates Trump. Now, he did refuse to support her for the Senate. And if I can find a time when she changed, seems to me that's the time that she changed. So let's get real, Marjorie. He didn't support you for the Senate.
Oh wow, yeah, that's right.
I might have. I liked her a lot.
That is bizarre. What's happened with that?
And she says that it's
See the president respond.
She says that the reason was breaking with the president over the Epstein files, Israel, and the economy. I don't know how she broke with him over what it is she wanted about the economy that she didn't get. But if it was the continuing resolution and she wanted more cuts than they had, maybe what happened would have showed her that if they had put in more cuts than they did, the country would still be. I mean, we had a hard time getting that through.
Right. Well,
maybe it was pretty wise that
I think
he was able to compromise that so we can live to fight another day.
We got to get this guy on our show. But I think Scott Jennings, who we've all gotten to know as the conservative voice on CNN, he shares your view, Mayor, on what's going on here. So let's play this from CNN. Scott Jennings.
Segment here. I did see the president today, actually, and we discussed the Marjorie Taylor Greene issue a little bit. You know, what happened with her is very simple. She was wanting to run statewide in Georgia. He privately and discreetly sent her a copy of a poll that he had seen, and she was way down. It was not going to work out. And ever since that moment, he did her a favor, actually, by saving her from a humiliation. But ever since that moment, she's opposed him on bombing the Houthi rebels, on bombing Iran. She's opposed him on deportation. She's gone on, TV shows and attacked him. And so because he sort of betrayed her in her mind on that political moment, I think he did her a favor. She's become an opponent on this other stuff.
She's called on him to release the Epstein files.
Okay, and they're doing
he hates
it.
that. So you can't omit that because that's the reason that he's really gone,
Of course, covering for anything, that they'll cover for anyone who's going after Trump, right? On that
Of
show.
course, yeah. But I mean, those things came first, and if I recall correctly, she became a big opponent of Israel.
Right.
I mean, she's sort of hanging over. Who knows? We got to ask her about Tucker and is she in that camp?
Right. Right.
Well, it's disappointing, but it happens in politics.
It happens,
right?
right? It does.
It happens in politics, and as we all know, president's tough. They're not going to take this stuff for too long.
Right. So this is the president not too long ago. on his former friend MTG.
Which is tax cuts in the history of our country. So when somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's now catering to the other side, I don't know what, I guess she's, got some kind of an act going, but I'm surprised at her. But when somebody like Marjorie goes over and starts making statements like that, it shows she doesn't know.
Right. He's right about that.
Yes.
Whatever you feel, however you feel about the failings around the Epstein issue, the president's right that MTG at the time, right now, is playing into the Democrats' hands.
I mean, there were other Republicans who wanted the file released. He hasn't gone nuts on them.
Right. Well, and because they also haven't gone nuts on him.
Yeah, it's a one issue thing. I mean, in politics, you can almost always separate on one or two issues.
Right.
But but here you got, put Epstein aside. You got some of the pretty hard to separate on one of the most important key parts of our foreign policy.
Right.
Which is supporting Israel.
Yep.
It's all we really have in the Middle East.
Yep.
It's all we have. I mean, I don't understand how people think that this is, we're doing this because of the Jewish people. If the Jewish people didn't exist and Israel were Israel, just Israel, we would support Israel. They support us. First of all, we'd want to search out Israel and support it because it's the best army in the Middle East. If you're going to have an ally in the Middle East and you're a country that's under threat, who would you want on your side? I mean, they could be pound for pound per capita the second best army in the world. In fact, they are. The only reason you'd have to defer a little to some other countries, the armies are bigger. But given the way Ukraine succeeded against the Russian army, I guess they'd be overwhelmed by numbers. But I mean, I think if they went into Ukraine and helped the Ukrainian, Putin would get thrown out. Wow. First of all, the first thing that happens is the Russians would take out their cell phones to call their girlfriends at home and to blow them up. It's the first thing that would happen.
Right.
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 And the Ukrainians seem to be the craftier ones. I mean, the Ukrainians are the ones that got the drones into Russia.
Yep.
Into the homes in Russia, like the Israelis got into the homes in Iran.
Right.
Now we know how they had help with that, but maybe the Ukrainians have help in Russia.
Right.
I mean, they are all related. I mean, I'll say all related. There is a close, direct relationship between Ukraine and, I mean, I give you as an example, the mayor of Kyiv is half Russian and half Ukrainian. Exactly half. Always been Ukrainian in terms of sentiment and attitude and political philosophy and religion and everything else. But his father was in the Soviet army.
Right.
So there's got to be a certain amount of sympathy among regular Russians for the Ukrainians. Because indeed, Ukraine has, over the long course of history, the aggressor has almost always been Russia.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure these families can go back into their family history, which is only maybe 2-3 generations ago, when Stalin tried to attempt a genocide on the Ukrainian people, just covered up by a lot by the anti-Semites because he was killing a lot of Jews there. Oh, you do remember, if you watched the Tucker tape, that out of nowhere, Nick Fuente said, I like Stalin. To which Hunter looked a little surprised, just a little, and said, oh, we'll circle back to that. Well, he circled back to that like the circle woman who represented Biden used to circle back to things. Never. In fact, they went off at the end of their conversation into a 20-minute, 30-minute diatribe on women. Both of them Tucker trying a bit to moderate him to a strong anti-woman position from a maniacal anti-woman position. The thing the guy said about women, and I am hardly like, feminist in chief. I am a person that very much values equality of opportunity. I think it's so important. And I think there were things about the feminist movement that were very, very valuable. I think there were things in the feminist movement that were positively, horribly destructive. But you listen to this, I don't care what your views are. This guy's crazy. I mean, he's crazy. The man is man's the head of the house. Okay, head of the house. And there's one point at which he says, Tucker says to him, he's sort of expressing if he doesn't want to get married, and he doesn't like women. Really doesn't like them. Said all the women you meet today are, first of all, he says they're all the women are overweight. I mean, some poor women are anorexic and they're so skinny you can't even see them. But I mean, not all women are overweight, and right. And even if they are, I mean, they can be beautiful. Why just have a different view? But they can be beautiful.
Right. No, I
mean, there's a certain, and you've got to understand, like point. I do, being 81 years old and talking to men all my life about politics and religion and other subjects. But every once in a while, we would talk about women, just not a lot.
Yeah.
And men have all different views of women. I don't know. I think men have a broader context in terms of the women they're attracted. Maybe not. I may be wrong about that. I just know how men look at it, but this guy really doesn't like women. I mean, you just listen to it for yourself. I mean, they're very bossy and they take over your life, and he's not going to get married. And so Tucker actually reveals a very nice part of himself in which he talks about his marriage. And he says, you become like best friends also. Not only is there romantic love, if it's good, and it's not always bad. Look, 50% of marriages end in divorce. 50% don't. And I'm not going to say that all of the 50% that don't are wonderful, but a lot of them are. My parents had a beautiful marriage.
Right.
And so he says to him, you can be like best friends. Fuente says, I have to differ with you. You can't be best friends with a woman. You can only be best friends with a man. Because to be best friends, you have to be peers. You have to be equals. And women are not equals with us.
Wow.
A woman is to be a good wife and a loving wife. A woman has to be subordinate to you. She can't be your best friend. I think I have that pretty close to verbatim. We'll get it out and play it for you tomorrow night. And we're going to do a podcast about this. So you'll get it all. Right. Because I think I want to come to my own conclusion about how frightened we should be about him before we go, ooh.
Right.
The anti-Semitic stuff has to be condemned, thrown out, beaten into the ground, and done away with. There shouldn't be any of that in our party. I'm sorry. I'm not going to. I wouldn't be part of a party with anti-Semitic people who had a prominent role in it. Now, given the fact that he's broken with Trump, I don't feel like he's part of our party. By the way, do you know he didn't vote for Trump?
Right. I think I did.
He didn't vote at all. No, I'm talking about now.
Right.
24. He didn't vote for Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Trump really got finagled into that meeting with him, too, with Kanye West, who also then turned on Trump.
Right.
But he's turned back now. You know that.
That's what Yeah, I
Kanye
just
turned
don't-
against him for a period of time in the last 4 or 5
Yeah,
months.
so it's hard to.
But now he's turned back. But Kanye is
That's why you got to be
admittedly-
careful, like following him, right? 'Cause
Isn't-
he's just
isn't-
up and down, in and out.
Isn't Kanye admittedly mentally ill? No, I mean, doesn't he admit that he's either paranoid, schizophrenic, or something or other?
Yeah.
I think he does. So I think it's dying down a little too. But we have to exercise like you do the devil. We got to get that anti-Semitism out. There should be no hint of anti-Semitism in the party of Lincoln or in the movement of William Buckley, who ripped the hell out of anti-Semites. Just took them apart. I'm going to tell you why. Because to be anti-Semitic is to be anti-Western civilization. And it's the reason why this guy is. You'll see. You'll see. You'll see. There's a trial going on in Brooklyn about these Chinese spies that work for the present governor and the governor before of New York. And they are an example, and not the worst, they're much worse examples of how much the Chinese Communist Party has infiltrated the Democrat Party. This husband and wife were getting a fortune for doing relatively minor things. So you can imagine what they get when they do really big things, but things that are important, like cutting them off from Taiwan, making it appear as if they were anti-Taiwan, which is enormously important to the psychological game that China is playing with Taiwan, which is to make Taiwan think that the American support is split, American support is in doubt. Democrats beautifully play that game with him. Biden made so many inconsistent statements about Taiwan. Taiwan might have thought he didn't really know where they are. At one point, he changed 40 years or 30 years of American foreign policy and said, if they're attacked, we're going to invade. We're going to come in and fight with the Chinese, which of course we've never indicated what we're going to do other than we're going to help them.
Right.
Then he had to change it to we're not, which got the Taiwanese people all frightened. Now he's not going to do it.
Right.
And I don't think he ever straightened it out.
I don't think so.
Trump has had a meeting for one of his first meetings with Taiwan. They're now building their chips in America, backing them up, doing a very, very sensible thing to protect them in the world. I don't think they have any doubt of where we stand. Any doubt. Plus, if you take a look at what he's doing with our fleet, you see that fleet that's off Venezuela? You don't think that could interfere with an attack on Taiwan? Yes, sir. There's an organization known as CARE, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it, and then we're going to do more about it. We're going to do more about it in the next show. CARE is very, very close to the new mayor of New York. The candidate that he's already endorsed a candidate for public office. He's not even in office, and he's supporting an assembly candidate who's linked to the Council on American Islamic Relations, noted as a communist front organization, which he hid when he became a citizen, which creates a fraudulent citizenship. And this woman that he supported described the 9/11 terrorist attack. Just a couple of people did it. That's going to, I'm not even going to react, because if I did, what would happen, right? This woman's name is Aber Kawas. She's a longtime Palestinian American lobbyist and activist. And she was at a closed door meeting with the Democratic Socialists of America last week with Mandani, and he said he has tremendous respect for her, and he will support her in whatever she decides to do about running. And she wants to run She wants to run for Congress, so we can get another supporter of Muslim extremism. She is also a big supporter of CARE. CARE is on the verge, I think, of being declared a terrorist organization by the governor of Texas, and the evidence for it is overwhelming. It should have been done any number of years ago, but they also were heavily through the Champions of Justice Fund behind all of the protests in 2024, the Islamic anti-Jewish protests in the United States. And they've been behind and put thousands and thousands of dollars, I don't have the exact amount, to support the protests and the burnings that took place at Columbia University, University of Pennsylvania, and Harvard. And here are a couple of others that he's taking on that have a background having been arrested for the protests they were involved in. The person that he put on as his chief of staff also comes from the Democrat Socialists of America, again, the equivalent of the Communist Party. So there's nothing about what he's doing where he doesn't look like he's going to be totally faithful to his communist agenda. And what he's doing to, and I've got to fully analyze this because I think they made a mistake, believe it or not, in comparing the tax rates. But he's going to make that he is absolutely determined, it seems to me, to make the tax rate in New York higher than New Jersey, California. I mean, they fight with each other as to who is the highest. Now, in New York, you cannot look just at the state rate. Otherwise, New York looks like it's lower because New York City charges a tax. So if you live in New York City, if you live in New York City and and he has his way, you'll be way over 50% in federal, state, and local taxes. As an individual at the top, and an individual at the top is like 120, 50,000, whatever. You'll be paying well over half of your income you'll be working for the government.
Right.
Now, if you're a corporation, you're going to be paying even more than that to the government. So your corporation is going to belong to you. It's going to belong to New York City.
Oh.
Well, so I have a business, right? I have some partners. Mm-hmm. If I were in New York City, my biggest partner would be the city of New York.
Yeah.
They don't help me. All they do is cost me money. All they do is have regulations to make it impossible for me to do my business.
Right.
All they do is conduct a city that makes it impossible for people to want to come there and do business with me. And what the hell am I doing there? So Mondami is definitely going to win the flight race, meaning he will have New York clearly ahead of the other states in most people leaving. We've been in a very, very tight race that we win some years and we lose some years, and it depends on how you define winning and losing. Some years, more people leave New York than New Jersey and California.
Right.
Some years, more people leave New Jersey and some people California.
Right.
He's going to leave them in the dust. Unless a Governor Newsom does some of the things he intends to do.
Which we'll have to see.
So we'll be back tomorrow night. We'll also maybe discuss the report on Governor Newsom and Mayor Bass on how they virtually caused the fires in California and suddenly did nothing about them. Oh, by the way, and are still doing nothing about them in terms of the people being able to get back into their homes. The federal government has had it ready for about 8 months, and they're holding it up. So pray for the people of Israel. A lot of big steps in the last, even the Times called it a major breakthrough. They'll change that tomorrow, but let's at least take advantage of this, saying it today. Pray for the people of Ukraine. Pray for the people of Iran. Pray for us. And how about the people now, we should add, I think, in Nigeria and the Christians in Africa who are being slaughtered.
Yes.
And nobody's paying attention to them and lying about it.
Right.
Because they're trying to cover up Muslim jihad, which is an essential part of the religion taught to them by Muhammad.
Yes.
So, dear God, please, please, please help us and give the president the strength to handle all of these burdens that he has, which he's doing so well, but he's just a human being. And there's only one person, only one entity, one thing that can help him, and that's prayer. So we'll pray with him. And all of us are going to say, God bless America. And it's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk, we're able to analyze. We are able to apply our God-given common sense.